WhiskyJason here, whiskey from the viewpoint of an American in Germany tasting rare and exotic whiskeys. Today I have something WhistlePig. WhistlePig is not exotic, you say. Well, I have WhistlePig Farmstock number 3. Yay! I've seen a few videos online about one, maybe one about number 2, but none about 3, so I decided to do one. So WhistlePig, we know, was actually founded in 2007. One of the apprentices from Donald Trump actually did that at the very beginning. He got pushed out of his own company. Dave Pickerell, may he rest in peace, one of the experts and gods and guidance counselors for the new breed of distillers that have popped up in the USA in the last 10 years. He was one of the founding advisors here, and he had the dream that this should become the transition from zero whiskey up to the full product. In an interview with the Whiskey Advocate, very interesting interview, by the way, with Dave Pickerell, lady interviewed him there. He said that there's 2 wrong ways to do that in distillery. Number 1 is to say, hi, I have a new distillery, wait 8 years. Not a good thing. And the second thing you could do is say, hi, here's my white dog. Also not great. So what he decided to do is to do the following. We have here the Farmstock number 1. Farmstock number 1 is 20% of their 1-year-old Vermont rye whiskey, and it was charred in. It was number 1, and it's a Vermont oak. They have their own farm, and they have their own trees that they cut down, and they used it for their badly prepared. Used it for their own barrels. Then we have over here number 2. Which was actually 32% of 2-year-old Vermont, also from Vermont Oak, char number 3. And then we have over here, I'm going to do it this way, we have over here Farmstock number 3, and we actually have 52% of the 3-year-old Vermont from Vermont Oak number 4. So we have 20%, 1-year-old, 32% 2-year-old, and 52% 3-year-old. It's still not straight. It is straight, 100%, because it's over 3 years of age. But what's the rest? Over here, for example, we have 49% is then Canadian 5-year-old rye, and 31% is 12-year-old MGP from Indiana. This is my favorite. Over here, we have, as I said, 32% of the 2-year-old, 45% of the 6-year-old Indiana MGP, and we have 23% of the 10-year-old rye from Canada. Alberta distillery, very, very good. And lastly, but not leastly, we have here 31% 6-year-old Canadian rye and 17% 10-year-old Canadian rye. So no MGP juice whatsoever in there. Now, WhistlePig actually started off, and Dave Pickerell acquired a fairly large batch of 10-year-old Canadian rye whiskey. This 10-year-old stuff was amazing. WhistlePig won all these awards. They were very, very highly praised for all that they did at the beginning, and they actually put out even a 12-year-old, and they did this this contest where they had these different types of finishes, and they did the port, and they did the Madeira, and they did the sherry, and then they combined them all and made this old world rye and so on. That was very, very good. Then all the trouble starting happening in the company, where there was a management crisis, and the investors took over from the owner. And then everything was kind of quiet until finally the Farmstock number 1 came out. For me, the Farmstock number 2 was not much fanfare, and number 3 has been totally under the radar, and it actually reached Europe and Germany without much of a problem. So I paid 69 euros for this, 79 euros for this, and way back when on secondary market I paid 99 euros for that. All right, so let's nose them first of all. This is a very good nose. I have a lot of wood, by the way, on this. These Vermont Oak number 4 charred casks, amazing. 52% 3-year-old Vermont straight rye, absolutely great. Good stuff. Every single one of these is bottled then at 43%. So this is, by the way, WhiskeyBase number. If you ever look at WhiskeyBase, one of the more European databases for all the whiskeys of the world, with over 140,000 different categories, or entries, I'm sorry. It's 134610. So number 2, which is the least of my favorite. There's way too much of that young rye in there. It's very, very green. It's very, very shiny. It's very, very almost Sagamore type of yucky. And over here, not Sagamore rye from Baltimore, Maryland, but more of the tree sappy. Let's use that word. It's a Sagamore tree sappy. And number one, I loved. This was actually, and I still think it is my favorite whiskey. I love the Alberta Rye. I would like, Food Quig, I know you watch my videos most of the time. Thank you very much. I know you sent me a sample of the Alberta Rye, which I have to try one time in front of the camera. I just have so many samples. We have a word in German. It's called the sample Stau. Stau is the word for congestion or traffic jam. I literally have over 1,000 samples outside waiting for me here in my boxes in my office, which I will never get to. I've done 1,100 videos so far in German and about 400 videos here in English. 363, whatever. And I will never be able to drink all the whiskey I have. Is that a problem most YouTubers or whiskey tubers have? Apparently, yes. So, number 3. Let's try it. What I really like, they have a thumbprint here, and it's authentic quality. And they also have here, which I thought was interesting, they call it the triple terroir. So they use the water from the Vermont farm, they use the wood from the Vermont farm, and they use the grain from the Vermont farm in the future. Wonderful. That's a good rye. That's better than the Bullet Rye, better than the Jim Beam Rye. I'm not sure if it's better than the Jack Daniel's Rye single barrel, or my Lot 40 single barrel, or my Michter's single barrel rye. Those are really, really good. But this is a very, very nice whiskey. This is actually up there with a B- type of rye rating, which is fabulous if you consider this is a 3-year-old rye. The majority of the whiskey is 3 years old, and the youngest whiskey in this is 3 years old. If this is the house profile of WhistlePig in the future, mwah, well done. Cleanse the palate. I'm going over to farm crop number 1 on purpose. So this is the predominantly Canadian whiskey, 49%. So they do not have to call it Canadian whiskey. If it was 51%, the majority, maybe they could have wrote down on here WhistlePig Canadian whiskey, which they did not want to do. It's a straight rye and rye whiskeys because it's a 1-year-old in here, and the 1-year-old, the 20% of this, is so gentle that it doesn't kill the MGP in the Alberta stock. This is actually the best of the 3. I don't know if you can get this anyplace, but this is still very, very good. So the 5-year-old Canadian and the 12-year-old Indiana MGP stuff. Nice, nice, nice. Very good. A little bit not as mature. Don't forget the oldest in here is 10 years old with 17%. 37% is 6 years old, and 52% is 3-year-old. This is going to be amazing in the years to come, but not yet. So, last but not least, the farm crop number 2, which I did not like. Which I do not like. There's just way too much of that young whiskey in here. 32% of the 2-year-old, and that's also the question here. Here we had number 1. Here we have number 3, and here we have number 4 char barrels. It just takes over. It dominates a little bit too much. I don't know if Dave Pickerell did this himself. I have the feeling yes, he did this definitely. Maybe he didn't do this, and he had the plan, he had the strategy, he had everything mapped out for this. I know. But this is just a little bit, they needed some older rye in there to balance out the younger rye, and they had too much of the younger rye with the very, very young rye from their own distillery. The concept itself, I think, is fascinating. I get to see the development of the whiskey. I get to see how it's a tiny little bit there. I get to see how it starts to take over and goes, oh no. And I get to see it actually mature into something where I go, oh yeah. And I can't wait for the farm crop number 4, if there will be that. I hope that they just release it as a 4-year-old straight rye whiskey, and they just call it whatever they want to, WhistlePig, and then start using their own products in the future, because that is the future. Stop sourcing unless you have to. I forgot the word. What is a, wow, absolutely blackout here. Pappy Van Winkle is not a distiller, but he's a rectifier. Yes, stop rectifying my whiskey. Buying it, changing it, and selling it back to me, but rather produce your own whiskey and make sure that it's your own, has your own little touch, your own little spin, your own little identity here. What am I going to give this? I'm going to give this actually a solid B minus B to be honest, which is very good. Price, value for money, 69 euros. I can get, at least over here in Germany, I can get almost 1.5, if not 2 of these, which is better. I can get 1.5 of these, the Woodford Reserve Rye, is better. And I can get also, well, let's just prove my point here for a moment. And I can get here from my Jack Daniel's Single Barrel Rye. Let's get rid of the batch number 2 here real quick. And I think I remember this being better, so let's see here if it really is better. I'm a big fan of the ryes, and I love my Canadian Lot 40 rye. I love it, love it, love it. Thank you, Don Livermore, for making great whiskey. Ooh, the one wins out still. The problem we have here, oh, this is better. The problem that we have here is definitely that it is a little bit of a high rye type of Tennessee whiskey. I know I can't say bourbon, but as soon as the barrels leave the United States, they're called still bourbon barrels. They're not called Tennessee whiskey barrels. They're called bourbon barrels. And also, according to the NAFTA, the North American Trade Agreement back then, also anything made in Tennessee is internationally classified, first of all, as a bourbon, and second of all, as a specialized bourbon, which means it was made in Tennessee and follows the Lincoln County process here. Wow, I just started a fight with all the people I know. Better mouthfeel, more of a vanilla type of rye moment. Wow, that really is better. I didn't do this in my German video. I said it was better, but it might not actually be better. So let's pull out the big boys here. Let's go for our Michters, and let's see if this is really better than I thought it was. Good. Yeah, this is what I do in German videos a lot, and then in the English videos I don't do that. I just have the one thing I know exactly what I'm supposed to be doing, and a lot briefer. I do my normal length of a German video is between 15 and 20 minutes, and the normal length of an English video is between 8 and 12 minutes, which I think is actually better. I've heard rumors that this is actually Brown-Forman, because the juice in there couldn't have been produced at the Michters distillery, which has opened up last year. Maybe someone can confirm or deny that rumor. Ooh. That's a good rye. So we know on what level we're talking about here. Much sweeter. We have more rye, we have more sweetness, more vanilla, also a little bit more of a silky mouth texture. That's difficult. They're about the same. All right, so we're talking here exactly the same ranking. The Jack Daniels is a little bit less than here. The Michters and the Lot 40 is a little bit better than the Michters. Now there's others out there that are a tiny little bit better as well, but you're paying a lot more for them. So who knows? All right, so this is actually very good. So I'm going to give this for 69 euros. I'm not sure what you're getting it for in the States. Let's say maybe about 60 some dollars. This is actually going to be a C plus. A, why haven't you bought it? B, buy it. C, you can buy it if you want to. You don't have to. D, don't worry about it. And F, why was it made? So this is actually for the taste, for the palate, for the nose. This is a B, B minus, so buy it. And for the price, the value for money, it's a C. Buy it if you want to. So this is almost a recommendation. If you can buy it at the bar, please try it there first and then find the bottle. If you're a rye lovers, go for it anyways. This might just be actually a collector's series if you would have the farm stocks, all three of them. I'm sure that people have done that and will do that. And my last question of the day is will they be a number 4 or will they just go to WhistlePig normal straight rye? All right, thank you very much for watching. Question of the day is what is your favorite rye whiskey out there? Either for best value for money or best whiskey out there. I think Old Forester just put out a rye in the States that hasn't made it over here yet, and it's a great value for money, by the way. Also, that is a good thing. I'm looking forward to that, to seeing it, to finding it, to enjoying it as well over here in Europe, where I'm the weirdo tasting rare and exotic whiskeys. Thank you very much for watching. Please like, subscribe, ring the bell if you want. Every once in a while, I actually go online. I go on, it's a live stream, and also please take a look at, think about sharing this video with others. All the best. Bye-bye.